Well, if you can't tell, it is a few days later and several degrees colder. Let's go see how the sheep are doing. Looks like they're all chowing down and eating some good hay. Yeah, nothing too exciting going on here, but we'll show you how they're living. Oh, Betty. Don't do it, Betty, don't do it. Love and PJ's right here following us around like normal. You can see that they've been eating around the base of the bales. The end bales go first just because they're the easiest ones to access, because they can access them from the end right here, but they can also access them from the side. Oh, just scared that lamb too. This is a bad bale example because I don't know if you can see it. There is twine all the way through this bale, and I can't get it all out because that bale had a runaway twine incident where basically as it was feeding hay in, it pulled the twine and grabbed it with it. My own fault partially because I did leave it very long on the end and it was able to grab it and pull it. Now, it is hard on the twine when it's like that, and usually it does break, but this time it did not. Other than that though, everybody seems to be enjoying the weather in here because I scared them all away. Like I said, we had to push some of these over because they kind of made it to where it looked like the Grand Canyon almost, where it was ate down to where there was only like a foot in the middle that was left holding it up, so we pushed it over. It's not going to fall out of the rack on them. Actually, you can see it better on here. So it's not going to fall out of the rack on them if they eat this away. However, what I do worry about is them being under there and somebody having their head really far in because they're really chowing down and enjoying themselves, and then it falling down because that would catch their head in there, probably hold it in there because as you can see it's just like a hog panel that it is a hog panel that we've cut some squares out to make it easier for them to put their head through. Oh, there we go. PJ's gonna be a demonstrator. PJ, can you demonstrate? So they just put it through just like that and then they start chowing down. Thanks, PJ. Now, just like we talked about last year, kind of showing it so you can see that there's obviously some manure in here, and all of it is just getting powder coated in the sawdust, which keeps it from sticking to them. That's why they all look so clean, and obviously their feet all look nice and clean as well. Would it hurt them if some manure gets packed up in their hooves? Probably not. However, if I can keep them clean, just like us, we keep our hands and feet clean, and our body in general. The cleaner we can keep ourselves in the environment we live in, the less likely we are to get sick or have some sort of illness kind of get bestowed upon us. So we try to keep the same philosophy going with them. You're a little bit of a wide load there, Mama. Yeah? You got twins in there or triplets? You're lopsided too to top it all off. Should have zoomed in. Too late now. Oh, well, we're not going to record that. Nothing else has changed in here. They still have their mineral trough, just like that. Now, we are going to change something a little bit this year. You can see that their mineral trough is empty, and that's because we're only going to fill it up about every 3 days. The reason behind that is because they're getting all the same stuff in their feed that you're about to see the feedlot that they get fed in. They're getting all the same stuff mixed into their grain out there, and we don't want them to be eating it out there and then still feeling like they need it in here, and then they're doubling down on it because it's wasteful on our part. But we do always want to leave it out and available, so if they still feel like they need it, they have it. Water hasn't changed other than the fact that they've made their normal mess. Get some of that out of there. It's cleaner. I don't know what it is about these animals. It is really hard to keep their water clean. They always have something in it. Moose is doing well too. He definitely got his winter coat in. He's very furry now. Sure wish I would have wore gloves. because it's definitely colder and windier than I was hoping for. But here I am. Flat little surface right there. We'll take this lockout. Accidents don't happen. Start walking down this way and pouring the grain in the trough for them. Now we fill this whole trough up, not because they necessarily need the whole trough filled, but it does make it easier to where everyone is spread out and they can all get a place to eat. The more important thing is that they're getting the appropriate nutrition. So we feed a pound per head. So basically they're getting 180 pounds of feed put out per day, because there's 180 adult ewes in there. Now obviously the rams are going to take a little bit of that away. We'll go ahead and grab our rock, put it in our bucket. Keeps the wind from being able to blow it away, and then lock this up, keep bad things from happening, hopefully. I always worry about that thing getting knocked open and spilling tons and tons of feed on the ground. Hopefully you can hear me. Scruff and Fluff, they are not staying in the barn. Like, they're not locked up in here. They do have access from the other end where we walked through earlier where the tractors are at, but they're not trapped in here. Last year they were trapped in here all winter because one of them bond to them. And it's worked pretty well because they do come in here a lot trying to get in there with them. Great, that is awesome, and that is exactly what we wanted with our livestock guard dogs. George doesn't do that because he wasn't raised with these guys in the same way. He came here about 3 years old, but he was the livestock guard dog we had before Fluff and Scruff. I'm sure you're also wondering why this bucket's here, and that bucket is there because these guys want to push on this gate. I don't have to stand there and try to hold it. This makes it much simpler, and I can simply force this gate all the way open to give them as much room as possible, and bad things shouldn't happen unless the dogs get in the way. Back. Yeah, I'm kind of in the way and blocking them. Usually I go on the other side of that. And my bad. Apparently I bumped the button and turned the recording off, or I didn't start the recording at all. One or the other. We'll find out when I go to edit. But 180 of them at 90-foot feed trough here. Obviously, that's going to be 90 of them on each side, and it is pretty crowded. But you'll see that this is what they do. They constantly bounce back and forth trying to find a spot that they think is going to have more grain than the other, and so some of them do miss out because of that. It is what it is. You know, smack the ball a couple of times for Spirit so she can get a little bit of energy out before I have her come out here to help me move the sheep back in, because when she is really excited, one, it's a little harder to get her to mind and listen. Two, sometimes she gets a little bit too excited and is a little more aggressive than I like. Come here. What a good girl. Yeah, good puppies. Good girls. Can I have that? Thank you. Go. All right, so keep in mind that she's only had three days. She's been doing this now for 3 days. Obviously she did it last year, but you know, she had to warm up to it. So don't go all crazy in the comments saying that the dog don't know what she's doing or yeah stuff. She's still a young puppy. She's still learning, and she's not doing the same thing every day. She's doing different tasks during different times of the year. So in this environment, we try not to say anything to her because we really want her to just do it slowly and gently, kind of like she's doing. And if I walk up there too fast, yep, just like that, she's going to nip them a little bit, tell them to get going. But she's doing a really good job. Spirit back. You clowns. All right. All right, Spirit, sit. Spirit, sit. Spirit, sit. Good girl. Wait. So now Spirit walked him all the way up here. Get. I didn't tell you to go anywhere. Back. Back. Good girl. Sit. Good puppy. Good girl. Wait. You taking a nap already, huh? Good girl, Spirit. Hey, come here. Oh, such a good girl. Oh, it's a good girl. Come here. Yeah, you did a great job. You did a very good job. Good girl. Yeah. So I want her to sit there at the door because she doesn't need to chase the sheep in there. They understand where they're going. The first couple days, I had to walk up there and kind of, actually I had to use her one day because they really didn't want to go back in. They like to come out here and chase all this little grass that's trying to come up. They like to chase that little grass that's coming up because the weather has been inconsistent. So like some days it'll be, like 2 days ago it was 63. Actually, it was like that a couple days in a row. And then like today, the high was 39. So for reasons like that, sometimes we have to have her chase them in. But after they've gotten used to it, so now it's been, let's say, a few days, they are understanding that, oh, got it. We go right back in. We're not going to hang out here. And we don't want them to hang out in that feedlot because if they chase that grass is obviously lower than 4 inches. So they're guaranteed to pick up parasites, and they're always out there pooping whenever they're eating their feed. I just wanted to walk back in here and check on that one that you've seen that was laying right there at the bottom. I hate that she lays there because I always feel like she's going to get trampled, especially like if I do have to have Spirit push them in, because then they will run real quick. It's just a bad spot to lay. But, all right, I'm just checking on you, Mama. Yeah, it's just what she likes to do. I guess I should mention this. She is actually really easy to hang out with and mess with. Mainly because she is from our original flock, number 23, so she's actually pretty old. Probably should have went to the sale barn last year. As you can see, she's not pregnant. And I'd have to look at the records. I don't think she gave a baby last year either. So that was poor management on my part. She should not be here. Dumb on my part. Yeah. This is Moose's bucket, so I fill his grain up. Usually I bring it in down there because I don't walk back out there and really look at them as much as I did today with the camera. Usually I walk out there, check, make sure nothing looks funny on anybody. And then I take this bucket and I come to the top of the barn. By the top of the barn, I just mean up here where we keep minerals and feed for other animals. So like Moose has his feed in here. We just buy his by the bag. And same thing for the pigs that we have. We don't buy theirs in bulk because we don't go through enough of it, and it would take forever, and the grain would be bad by the time we went through it probably. So once I go through and I feed everybody, feed all those guys, I come back through from feeding the pigs and grab Spirit out of the house, and then we push these guys back in. So it's a little bit different to some aspect of how I work today compared to normal. And occasionally it's good to go out here and do your kids' chores, because then you see what you're having them do every day. You're making sure that, you gotta remember their kids sometimes. And so I don't want them to, think their childhood's miserable or anything like that. So it's good to make sure I'm not asking too much of them. I'm not gonna talk today, I guess. Get out of there, not for you. Back in that corner behind me, there's a water spigot, and that's what we use to keep Moose watered until it gets real cold and we shut off the pasture water. We haven't done it yet because until today it really hasn't been quite cold enough, and even then it's doing like it has been, where it gets real cold like this for a day and then it warms back up. So I just shut that off and disconnected it for tonight because it's gonna get down to 20, but then from there on it's gonna be back right around that 32 mark overnight, and it usually does just fine in that. I know you can't tell it by looking at it, but Georgie really is living his best life. That boy loves the cold weather. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video today. It is time for me to go inside and get my hands warmed up because I was stupid and didn't bring gloves. But thanks for watching. Have a blessed week. We'll see you next time.